So I already recorded this, but it surpassed the time limit, so none of the footage saved. So I'm gonna basically give it in a more condensed way. I finished my second out of 7 books, which is my goal this summer, and I read a classic, The Great Gatsby, and halfway through it, I wanted to stop, but I was like, I'm just gonna finish it for the sake of finishing it. And also, it's a classic, so I should read it because my brother read it for high school English. And it's kind of funny because, like, you can literally frame a book any way that you want. If you want to talk about social classes, you want to talk about feminism, you want to talk about love, or like you want to talk about like inherent evilness, you can do anything you want with a book and do it like you just frame it. Like, quotes can be read in like hundreds of different ways. But basically, this is a book about a man, the Great Gatsby. So Gatsby is a dude, and this whole book is narrated from the perspective of Nick. And Nick is this neighbor of Gatsby, and he's like kind of fascinated with the idea of him. He seems so great, X, Y, and Z. And then, it's just spoiler alert. I'm just gonna spoil it. Nick basically, like, it kind of feels rushed in a way, but basically, Nick has a family friend named Daisy, and Gatsby is actually in love with Daisy and wants to get with her because they had actually known each other before, but Gatsby didn't have enough money, Gatsby didn't have enough stability, and Daisy came from a rich background, and she yearned for that type, even though she was in love, she supposedly in love, she yearned for that type of stability, that love and money that she had grown up with. Gatsby had none of that, so she ended up marrying another guy named Tom. But Tom's kind of like this hunky, this not broody is not the right word, he's like not hunky. He's kind of big, but he's also like, he like slaps his mistress. Yeah, he has a mistress, spoiler alert. And then I think they just kind of get closer or whatever. And then Gatsby ends up being like, oh, Gatsby also throws these massive parties that a lot of people attend, whatever, blah blah blah. And then it ends up Gatsby dies, Tom's mistress dies, Tom's mistress husband dies. Okay, so 3 people die, and it's basically the casualty of the result of Daisy and Tom's relationship and their jealousy towards each other, which low-key doesn't make sense because they're low-key just flirting with other people already. And at this point, I think, like, honestly, this part's put it up pretty well. So Nick ends up being really like the real ones for Gatsby, and says, it was all very careless and confused. They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess that they had made. Which I think summed up the book pretty well, because like Gatsby built this whole life after being in the military to get Daisy back. That was in his mind. He was going to get Daisy back. Myrtle, in his mind, Tom was going to leave his wife and they would be together, but they weren't. It's like they did all these things in hopes of getting to that person, but not realizing that that person, even though they said blah 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 blah, those people have a safety net. The other people, Mistress and the Gatsby, they didn't really have a safety net in place. And for Gatsby, something that was crazy was that his death was like as a result of Tom, and the mistress's death was as a result of Daisy. So they're both like careless, but they're able to fall back to the sense of like their social class. But what I thought was even more interesting is that Gatsby hosted all these like great parties. So many people came, so many people forced their way through. But when it came to his celebration of life, his funeral, Nick was trying to get people to come. Basically, no one came, except maybe like one party goer that Nick recognizes. But no one really comes. Not even Daisy. Like, Daisy, you said you were freaking in love with him and you never even came to his funeral. You'd be like, okay, blah, 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 blah. But she never even sent her regards. Nothing. It's like knowing who, like, you risk your life for someone, but like, or everything in your life, but you don't realize that they wouldn't do the same for you. So I think that's like the highlight or the key takeaway from the Great Gatsby for me. But overall, this book, I don't know if I would recommend. Definitely a classic. Maybe read it, but low-key it was kind of fast and I just wanted to get through with it. The writing was like, yeah, but that's it.